Team of the season is here and red picks are back, and we all want the best rewards possible. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my full custom tactics setup that I'm going to be using to get rank 1 during Team of the season, and I'll talk you guys through how you can use these same tactics to do the exact same. Let's get into it. First and foremost, this is the formation that I start games in and play with most of the time. It's a bit of a yawn moment. It's the 4-3-2-1, but sit tight. Don't click off the video yet. I'll fly through this one a little bit faster, then I'll talk you guys through the rest of the tactics that have a little bit more going for them. You'll be very familiar with this kind of setup. Balanced, 34 width, 65 depth. I do like to play quite a strong press in this 4-3-2-1. Balanced direct passing because it's simply the meta. Width 45. You don't have to narrow a 4-3-2-1 too much for it to be very narrow because it's narrow in its nature. Players in the box is 6. Corners and free kicks, just go with whatever your personal preference is. So the player instructions from a 4-3-2-1, I leave my striker completely default. I kind of like them to be left to their own devices to link up with the two forwards. My left forward is come back on defence and get in behind. My right forward is stay central, get in behind, stay forward. The reason my right forward has the getting behind, stay forward, stay central, they kind of operate as a second striker on the defence. So it kind of leans into them staying up top with my actual striker and just keeping that 4-4-2 shape when we are defending. My left centre mid and middle centre mid are both stay back while attacking cover centre. My right centre mid is completely default. So we get Ribery as our left mid, Zico as our right mid, and Zidane and Essien as our two centre mids when we are defending. Again, you'll probably be very familiar with the 4-4-2 shape on the defence with the 4-3-2-1 at this point in the game. As for our wing backs, our right back is stay back while attacking, and our left back is balanced overlap. I did get a comment requesting an updated 4-3-2-1 for the channel. I've done the 4-3-2-1 multiple times, so I didn't want to give it its own full video, but these are the current 4-3-2-1 custom tactics that I'm using and will be using for the foreseeable future until we get a patch that might completely change the game again. As for the centre backs and goalkeeper, they are all just on the default. When you're using this formation, you need to make sure that when you're off of the ball, you're using your two stay-back centre mids to cut off the passing lanes and defend for as long as possible. You want to avoid switching into your defence for as long as you realistically can. The moment you switch into your defenders and start pulling people out in this formation, you will concede goals very quickly. So put a lot of onus on your creative centre mid and your more defensive centre mid to kind of be in control of cutting up that midfield play and pulling them back for as long as you can before you are forced to switch into your defence. On the offence, to utilise your overlap to get into that final third and then start working the ball across the box. You've got a left back, a front three, and then this right centre mid. Because this person here on the right forward is on stay central, they'll naturally tuck in, and then this right centre mid will kind of come across like another winger. So you'll have like a line of 5. Most people play a 4 back, so you'll create an overload and you'll always have a spare man. You're basically always looking for the spare pass in the attack, and then on the defence, you're always using your stay-back centre mids to defend. Next formation. So, now we've got the generic meta one out of the way. This is basically just an alternative for when I find in the 4-3-2-1, I find I am conceding just a little bit easier than I would like to. So I want to switch to something that still has the ability for me to score, but it's just a little bit more defensively robust, has 2 dedicated central defence midfielders, and that is the 4-2-3-1. So defensive style on this one is balanced, width 34, depth 62. As you can see, very, very similar to the 4-3-2-1, just slightly more modest on the depth. The build-up play is balanced, chance creation, direct passing, again, because this is just literally a go-to meta tactic at this point in the game. We're going for rank 1. We can't be playing with anything too interesting, too kind of fun and experimental. You just got to go with what works if you are going for those higher ranks. The width is 32. It sounds a lot more narrow than the 4-3-2-1, which was, I believe, 45. However, the formation is naturally wider in its nature. 32 kind of gives it the same sort of width that the 4-3-2-1 offers at a slightly higher width. So 32 is what I'm running with there just to get the passing linking up as easy as the 4-3-2-1 does. Place in the box, once again, is on 6. And corners and free kicks, as always, just go with your personal preference. So, instructions. We have the striker on stay central, stay forward. Our cam on stay forward, and our right cam and left cam are on comeback on defence. I kind of trust the players that I have because they're quite high caliber to make runs at the right time or be left to me to trigger them with the L1 button, so I don't feel the need to force it. Plus with my wide cams, I like them to kind of be there as an option to 1-2 it with the wing back, sort of drop the ball back and send it over the top. When you even put on a getting behind, or in this formation's case, a get into the box for cross, they just have the tendency to run forward more, which makes them less available for that pass. Now, you can call them back with R1, but then at that point, you're kind of wasting time. So I like to kind of leave my attack pretty free-flowing in this formation and just kind of trust the AI of the players. But the stay forward on the striker and cam does really allow you to have like an outball even when you're on the counter attack, which is absolutely fantastic. So as defensive as this formation is, you've still got 2 outballs, which is awesome. Both of your central defensive midfielders are on cut passing lane, stay back while attacking, cover centre. That is for both of them. Your left central defensive mid have as the more creative one, your right centre mid as the slightly more defensive one. The reason I say have the creative one on the left is just because, like the 4-3-2-1, our left back is balanced overlap. So your attacks are generally starting on that left-hand side. So having your more creative centre mid there to work the ball with just makes a lot more sense. The reason this is more defensively robust than the 4-3-2-1, despite the defensive shape being very similar, is that your centre mids naturally just sit a bit deeper because they're central defensive midfielders, not central midfielders, and they're always basically in the middle. You're not having them start off at the side and then kind of switch into a central position when you lose the ball. They're already there. They are anchors in the midfield. And then on the offense, they're always sort of on the edge of the box. No one's really too committed up. So you just get a little bit more of a support, a little bit more of a safety net. When you first lose the ball, they're kind of already in position rather than having to get into position. Your right back is stay back while attacking and nothing else there, just your dedicated, more defensive wing back because you don't want to be committing too many people forward. And then your centre backs and goalkeeper are all just on the default. Now, those formations are all very well and good and are what I use most of the time, but when the game is not going our way, we obviously need that sort of Hail Mary, that SOS setup that's going to get us back into games. And for me, that is the 4-4-1-1 second variation. Now, I don't really remember why this was the formation that I sort of ended up resorting to as my offensive formation, but it works really well. So I'll walk you guys through this one. Constant pressure, width 35, depth 100. Build up, play balance. Chance creation is direct passing, but I would also say forward runs. If direct passing is still not enough for you to get in and get chances, go with forward runs. That is also a really, really good option. Width is 35 and players in the box is maxed out at 10. We're just flooding numbers forward at this point. Tactics sort of go out of the window when you're chasing a game. It is more about just throwing pressure and numbers at the opponent. Corners and free kicks, I always just leave these the same regardless of where we're at in the game. So instructions, quite literally the least important part of a constant press formation. It's all just about this page, if I'm honest with you. The instructions you could leave completely default and it would still do a job, but I'll run you through them quickly anyway, just for argument's sake. Strikers stay central, getting behind. Cam is getting to the box for cross. Our left mid and right mid are come back on defence, stay wide. Our 2 centre mids are just cover centre. And I think I do have the wing backs on stay back while attacking. Just because as much as I'm throwing people forward, I kind of still want that back forward. So I'm not just giving away goals every time possession turns over. But overall, this formation, you can kind of just basically replicate what I've put here and apply it to any formation you feel that you press the opponent well with. 4-2-4 is a really common formation for constant pressure tactics, as is 3-4-2-1. I just really like the 4-4-1-1. I feel like it's just got a good shape for flooding the opponent, and I just get on well with it. So if you haven't got a really good constant press formation or tactic, just give these a go, because I've been using this literally since the game came out. Last and absolutely not least, the dirtiest of them all, our defensive tactic. We've got 5 minutes left. We're playing an absolute sweat. Our back's against the wall. They're throwing the pressure on us. We've got a 1-0 lead. What do we resort to? None other than the 5-4-1. Now, don't boo. I know people hate this formation, and for good reason. It is the most defensively robust formation in the game, and yet still offers great attacking potential, which is what's so overpowered about it. Now, this is not a formation you should really be starting in with the way I've got it set up. This is really just about seeing out last 5 minutes of the game. Again, don't use it for too long, because it's always just a matter of time if you're playing somebody really good that they're going to score. So this is really just about the last 5 minutes of a game, just trying to see it out. Defensive style balance, width 30 with a 5 back is very compact and hard to break down. Depth 55, not too much of a press. We're kind of allowing the opponent to come onto us with the faith that our shape is enough to keep them off. Build up, play balance, chance creation is direct passing. Honestly, you can kind of go with whatever you want here, because we're not really too fussed about attacking in this formation. Direct passing is more modest than, say, forward runs or fast build up or anything like that. So I personally just go balanced direct passing because it's pretty safe. You're not really having to attack much with our approach with this formation. But if you have something else you prefer here, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Width is 40, players in the box is 6. Again, you could kind of up this or put this lower. It really doesn't matter too much. Corners and free kicks, once again, just go with whatever your personal preference is. So getting into the instructions, which is definitely the most key thing with how this formation is formatted and how it works. So stay central on the striker. Our left mid and right mid, the two most important players in this team for it to attack correctly, I'll come back on defence, cut inside and get into the box to cross. Cut inside is the most vital instruction on a 5-4-1. If you ever see a 5-4-1 custom tactic that doesn't have cut inside on the left mid and right mid, run, it won't work. The way this formation is formatted is that the left mid and right mid tuck in, more like left forwards and right forwards, and then your wing backs overlap and become the wide men. So Ham and Ribery kind of sit next to Eusebio, while Zico and Rolford sort of take up the positions Ribery and Ham starting. That is how the formation sort of works. It creates this sort of line of 5 on the attack, despite being a 5-4-1 defensive shape on the defence. So it's really, really overpowered. The two centre mids are stay back while attacking, cover centre. If you were using this as a more starting formation, you would run the centre mids on balance, at least certainly one of them, but I would run them both on balance if this was a formation I was starting in. But because it's a defensive tactic, we are just running them both on stay back, cover centre. Our wing backs are balanced overlap, even though this is a defensive sort of tactic. The 5-4-1 shape is so strong that you can have those wing backs on balance, even if you are using it just to defend. And then our centre backs and goalkeeper are all just the default. But as I stress, just use this if you're in the last sort of 5 minutes. Don't give the opponent too much time to sort of pin you in and give them the opportunity to score. This is just to see out those last few moments of the game. I hope this video helps you guys secure those higher ranks in your FUT Champs games over the coming weeks. If you have any questions about any of the formations whatsoever, please do comment down below and I'll get straight back to you guys. If you did make it this far in the video though, guys, as always, I really appreciate your time. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and turn your bell on. Take care, guys.